What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Akjay here. Let's talk Guthrie, okay? What is going on in the Nancy Guthrie case? This case is completely unprecedented, having an 82-year-old woman kidnapped and vanished from her home with a perpetrator on camera. However, there have been no leads, no breaks in the case. We've had fake arrests. We've had weird statements from the sheriff. A sheriff of which should be long freaking gone. Sheriff Nanos. Sheriff Clown Boy is what his name should be. He should be out. The guy sucks. I cannot believe there's been no breaking news. Obviously, we have podcasters making their videos every day. Oh, let's go back in time to the first day of the case. What did the sheriff's department do? Did they kick out the FBI? But there's been no updates. Where's Nancy? Where's her body? Who's the ring camera guy? What was in the backpack? What's the motive? This case is completely absurd. You guys tended to like my first video on this. 30K views. I really appreciate it. Of my theory that this was fetish motivated. Someone who wanted to R-word Nancy, had a old person fetish, and wanted to go in there and take advantage of her. That was my original theory, right here in this video. Nancy Guthrie disappearance, fetish fantasy gone wrong, new surveillance changes everything. This was 3 months ago. 3 months ago, where we break down the perpetrator on camera, what might be in the backpack. My theory is that it's a potential assault kit. We dive into the Guthrie videos, numerous videos. People wanted to talk about the body language. Is it the stepsister or the sister's husband, the stepbrother, Tommaso? What is going on? Are there suspects? Dr. Grande lays out his 3 theories of the case. Says it's completely unprecedented. An 80-year-old woman vanishes, kidnaps, no ransom, no more notes, no motive. What's happening? It's just absolutely absurd. So I wanted to hop on here and talk about it. Am I still kind of, on board with my fetish theory? Could this potentially have been sexually motivated? Well, nobody seems to know at this point what the motive was. Were they mad at Nancy? Did they actually want ransom and it went wrong? She ended up dying. She didn't have her medicine. It was a botched ransom attempt. What are the suspects and what is Sheriff Nanos doing? I found this cool guy's video. Police Off the Cuff talks a little bit about the case, why it might break very soon, and what is going on with Sheriff Nanos. Just a couple ins and outs that I want to dive into and react to with you guys. Let's look at it.
In the detective bureau, so I know how to run an investigation. I also know how to investigate, and I have great gut instincts. And is a lot of police work gut instincts? You bet. And that's what's surely lacking a lot in this case. And again, we always get on the subject of Sheriff Nanos. He should be gone. He should have nothing to do with this case anymore. And it's disturbing to me that the local politicians, after they did a little inquest on him, referred it to another agency, like the state attorney general's. Are you kidding me? Take action at the local level. Get rid of him. He's not doing a good job. He couldn't find a bad guy in a state prison. But yet they didn't get rid of him. And so do you think that hampers?
Sheriff Nanos making a mockery of this case. He couldn't find a bad guy in a state prison. Whoa, is that not spot on? Holy crap. He comes out and contradicts himself. Oh, the family is totally cleared. Just kidding. We're actually going to go search Nancy's sister's house and not tell anybody. Oh, the family's completely cleared. Just kidding. We're still investigating Tommaso. Just kidding. We're going to go arrest random people on the street and then release them. What the hell is going on with this case, man? 127 days or something like that and counting for old poor Nancy. Get the sheriff off the case.
The FBI in helping, because the FBI is not going to catch this case. They're not going to be in charge of this case. They're going to work in tandem with the Pima County Sheriff's Office. And who's ever in charge at that level is calling the shots. Unfortunately, the person calling the shots is not a good investigator, does not do a good job with this case. So 3 months in, and where are we, right?
3 months in, and we haven't even gotten any more additional video. We haven't gotten any sketches. We haven't gotten any tips or anything. Who to look for, where to look, what's going on, what's the motive.
Nanos said something
Text messages, phone data, nothing.
recently that after 3 months, the authorities are making progress and getting closer to solving the case. First of all, you should never say that because it's a false promise. He doesn't know. You could say we're working hard. Right now, we're working on leads. Not we're getting closer if you're not, because you don't know that you're getting closer. And a lot of this...
That's a huge thing that's pissing a lot of people off. Sheriff Nanos has continually said, we're getting closer. We have people we're looking into. Something's going to happen any moment. And the days continue to pass by. There's been no update. I can't imagine what the Guthrie family is going through. I know Savannah's back at work. She's doing reporting for special events again and back on TV. You can't continue to just live your life in a capsule of despair and sorrow. Unfortunately, life goes on. The sun comes up. But your mom's still out there with no explanation. What in the world? Think about the community as well. There's somebody running around the streets kidnapping whoever, old women, could be kids. If they're taking out an 82-year-old woman, anybody's available. It could scare the community. It's ridiculous.
Case is hedging upon that DNA that is being processed by that lab in Miami, also being processed by the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia. So there were, early in the investigation, detectives reportedly found signs that Nancy Guthrie did not simply walk away voluntarily. There are indications of a struggle inside the residence. Blood evidence was recovered. Surveillance footage reportedly captured a masked suspect near the property carrying what appeared to be a holstered weapon. And we have that. It's not what appeared. We have.
We're aware of that. We are completely aware of that. This gentleman has a beautiful backyard as well. Let me know if you guys want to go in my backyard. If I got a bunch of plants over here, take a look. I mean, we got plants for days. We got a beautiful yard out there, big house plant guy. So let me know if you guys want to do an outside Okjay episode. We can get into it. We can get into it.
And I believe it was planned. I believe that the person that entered the home that tried to cover up the Ring camera, he knew where the Ring camera was. Some things are baffling about this. And you listen to Dr. Gary Brucato, who has another theory, and a great, great scientist, a great forensic psychologist, right? A great clinical psychologist. He believes that Nancy Guthrie was taken before out of that home and was kidnapped and murdered at some other location. These are his words. And that the crime scene was staged to make it look like it occurred in the house. I don't believe him either. I don't. Well, you outstanding profilers, thank you so much for your theories. But
wow, listen to that theory. That was pretty crazy. So he thinks they got in there, grabbed her, murdered her, and then they planted blood evidence, maybe dripped it themselves, knew the camera was there. Maybe they sent somebody not even involved to the camera to throw them off the scent. There's so many possibilities in this case. I get why it's taken a while to investigate. There's probably not much DNA evidence. We have the one surveillance, but who knows if that's actually the perpetrator? Who knows if there was more perpetrators? Where's the vehicle? I know it's a dark street. It's the desert. Houses are far apart. You got a lot of land, cactuses everywhere. Where's the vehicle information? There has to be a stoplight somewhere coming out of that neighborhood. That's what I really want to know. And again, what would be the purpose? That's what they really need to look into. Nancy's life, who she ran into, where she went recently. Because who knows why they did this? Again, it could go back to my fetish sexual attraction theory. Maybe they wanted to experiment with an older woman, similar to the FedEx driver taking the young child. Nobody expected that, did they? He had dark thoughts, evil thoughts in his mind. He was a psycho, multiple personalities. snatched her, he's not thinking logically. Oh, well, I'm going to go to jail. Oh, well, this could. No, these psychos don't think logically. They see a target, they get fixated on it, and they make it happen no matter what has to be done. Maybe that's what happened. I haven't heard any more ransom notes, but clearly they did something, and they're not the amateurs everyone thought they were right away. Oh, this guy's such an amateur, dude. Balaclava. Are you kidding me, dude? Balaclava. Just look up balaclavas. That's what Ashley Banfield was saying. Yeah, well, obviously it's not that fucking simple.
I'm not buying that. And how about the fact that there's $1.2 million in the kitty right now as a reward to pay the kidnappers? But that seemed to get confusing right from the very beginning, right? Usually, if there is a legit kidnapping, the kidnappers correspond with the family members of the kidnapping victim. And then the family contacts the police or the FBI, and they're being told what to say and what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to just take it upon themselves to negotiate with these kidnappers, right?
Exactly.
And, but yet it seemed that Harvey Levin, TMZ network, was coming up with ransom notes every other day. Why were they even involved? I mean, if I was a law enforcement agency, I would have pushed them right out of the way and said, we'll take this over. You just get off the camera and we'll coordinate this with the alleged kidnappers. Were any of those notes legit? I don't know. Early on, Savannah Guthrie said she believed that one or two of the notes early on were legitimate, and they were talking to the...
Yeah, can they not track these notes? What's TMZ doing? Get that idiot off my screen. Whatever that guy's name is, get him off my screen. Toss him in the bucket with Sheriff Nanos. Let's get some real professionals on this. Come on! Guthrie's out there. The family needs answers. Were the notes real? Why have they stopped? What's going on in the case?
And why they left through the front door. And the blood evidence on the front doorstep would seem to indicate that. Yet, two entrances in the back of the house were propped open. So why didn't they just leave that way and walk around the side of the house? I guess maybe it was too long a walk, or too long for the kidnapper or kidnappers to take Nancy Guthrie from that route. And then the fact that Jim Clemente said one of the kidnapper, because he says it's one kidnapper, struck Nancy Guthrie. And that's what caused the blood, the bleeding from the nose, the coughing, and the blood spatter on that step. I don't know. I think that it's a stretch. So there's two famous profilers. Jim Clemente, former FBI agent, head writer on Criminal Minds on TV.
This guy scratched his head as well. He doesn't even know. Nobody knows. Former police chiefs are baffled. I mean, clearly this wasn't the amateur hour that we all thought early on. Maybe my theory was a bit off, but again, I think it's still in play. A fetish is potential here. Because if it's not the ransom, why else? Just kill somebody? They pissed at her? Would they steal her? She stole their bingo card at the local bingo hall? Huh? She pulled a Jerry Seinfeld, and according to Jim, a George Costanza, a Jim Belushi. She dabbed the wrong paper. She fell asleep and swapped bingo cards. They got pissed and killed her. What's going on with Guthrie?
Very educated. If investigators obtain a viable DNA profile in this case, the entire direction of the investigation could shift rapidly. And so could, you know what else could make it shift rapidly? A tip that gives a name of someone that looks exactly like the person in the video.
Wow.
The masked person with the backpack.
Groundbreaking.
Wearing a mask and...
yeah, nobody seems to have any fucking clue at all. Let's just check in with Brian Eaton. Again, nobody knows Oh, these ultras, man. God, get these off my screen. It's like Adderall. Nicotine had a baby, dude. Shush.
Means no
Be quiet.
gum.
Hey guys.
Again, nobody knows. There's no true breaking news. It's all this regurgitated, oh, well, the first hours, what happened the first week. It's just nothing's happening. It's so frustrating.
Thanks so much for checking out my show. Really, really appreciate it. Please click.
What that means is we're getting closer because we haven't given up. And, you know, technically every day you consider
Investigation.
So that's what we're... Since Sheriff Nanos, we're getting closer. Yeah, what have you found new evidence? New suspect you're looking at? No, just every day we haven't given up. So we're obviously getting close. We're not getting further. We're still working it, so we're getting closer. What?
It's always kind of awkward when, you know, you approach someone like that. He obviously wasn't really expecting it, but he said we're getting closer. I'm curious what you took from that. If you just thought he was just sort of being optimistic, or if you think that may actually mean something.
I think he didn't feel like saying same old, different day. You know, we're just not. I think what that means is we're getting closer because we haven't given up. And, you know, technically every day you consider, I mean, if you can eliminate one person in Arizona that day, or one
Getting
person in the
closer.
United States, technically you've gotten closer.
What?
But I would need something more than that for that to mean anything significant to me.
Yeah. And a few weeks ago, the New York Post, and I don't want to get like personal here, but I did notice his Corvette. A few weeks ago, the New York Post had pictures of him in the Corvette, and then he was, you know, was parked right in front of the sheriff's office. He left again in the Corvette in that video. I don't know. I mean, look, he can have a Corvette. I mean, the guy's been working his whole, you know, in law enforcement his whole life and whatever. But I don't know, like just with everything going on with Nancy Guthrie, for some people, it kind of rubs them the wrong way that I guess that he drives that car to work, or it just seems to be getting a lot of attention.
Yeah. It's one of these things where if you succeed in all your cases and you look like Sherlock Holmes, the Corvette becomes, ooh, isn't he cool? It's kind of like,
Is this guy mentally challenged, Sheriff Nanos? You're going to roll up in a Corvette when you're botching one of the most nationally interested cases right now? My buddy has a Corvette. He sells windows for a living. He doesn't roll up to his window sales in the Corvette, dumbass. Oh, look at me. I'm doing great in life. I have so much money. I'm great at my job, even though I'm botching the biggest case of my career. What? Use your brain, Nanos. You're under the microscope. Everyone hates you. Get out of the Corvette, dumbass.
James Bond drove an Aston Martin DB, what was it, DB5, and nobody said anything about it because James Bond always succeeded. If James Bond didn't succeed, they'd say, how do you get that car? You know,
Exactly.
So I think there's a little bit of self-inflicted wounds there. When you are not succeeding in something, I wouldn't show up with bravado at work. I would show up like a blue-collar worker trying to get out.
Exactly. Hit it right on the head. When you're sucking balls, you don't roll up all fancy schmancy like you're the man, especially when you're in the public eye. God, so frustrating.
You know, basically boot him out of office. You know, there's a couple of different avenues where that, in ways that that's happening. There's a recall, but there's also the board of commissioners there that are
Guys,
up
just
with
look at
different
him.
ways, and there's different ones
Fucking
that
idiot.
really want to push
I
it
talk
forward.
softly.
If in fact he
I
was
talk so softly. That's what he said. I'm going to try to speak up because they say I talk really soft.
removed, what does that do for the investigation? And I don't know if you've worked on any cases in the past where like your supervisor or boss has been fired, or been, I mean, is it actually a bad thing at this point for when it comes to the Nancy Guthrie investigation, or would it be a good thing?
They're calling for his job.
I've had those situations where somebody above me has been has been moved out, or is in Pima County terms rotated, and for cause, because the case wasn't going well, or headquarters felt like we didn't have.
Yeah, I think we're at that time. I think we're at that time frame. Jesus Christ. Get him out. What's up with Guthrie? What's going on with Guthrie? Still think it could have been sexually motivated.
Huddle.
So even like regular first responding deputies should know that from the moment they get there, you would say?
That's part of their, people say, what do people do in the shooting, in the police academy? Well, it's more than just shooting. You learn stuff like that. Crime scene management is one of the case.
We're talking about such like elementary things here. Crime scene management? We're talking about crime scene management. Making sure people don't disrupt the crime scene, step in the blood spatter, get the FBI involved, do your normal sheriff duties. This police department sucks. If I'm someone in Pima County, I'm moving the hell out of there. You are not safe. That is not a public service announcement. Don't take my advice, but seriously, crime scene mechanics and fundamentals. Are you kidding me? Just watch CSI Miami. I get if it's a difficult case, but stop botching the crime scene. Don't release it after 2 days. Don't block out the FBI. Don't say you're getting closer when you're not. Don't rule out suspects when they're not ruled out. This is so frustrating. As you can see, everyone's baffled by this. Making video after video after video. Nobody knows. Jen Coffindaffer. We got News Nation. Inside a Psychopath's Mind. Nancy Grace talking about Nancy Guthrie, the Nancy squared. Any leads? There's no leads. Just the fall guy. Who hired him? So many theories, no answers. Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. And here is Tony Bruschi. Let's just listen to this just for the...
This is The Big Breakdown. A long look back at some of the biggest stories we're covering for you at the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.
With Tony Bruschi. Here's
This is
Tony
Hidden
Bruschi.
Killers Live with Tony Bruschi and Robin Drake.
The public has largely consumed the Nancy Guthrie case as a who took her mystery, but another possibility hangs over the investigation. What if the public-facing narrative itself is misleading? The ransom notes may be noise. The camera tampering may have been partially performative. The offender behavior may not align with the motive people assume. And sometimes in cases like this, the most dangerous thing investigators face is not a lack of evidence. It's evidence pointing in conflicting directions at once. We were just talking about Kash Patel. We were talking about...
how many questions were just right there in that intro? There's conflicting evidence pointing in different directions. Clearly, someone's trying to get them off the scent. Maybe something was staged. They need to get down to the bare bones of this investigation. Look for more camera footage. Look for CCTV at stoplights. Look at her Ring camera the week before. I'm sure they're doing all this, but just get down to the nitty gritty. Stop with the glove down 2 blocks down. We're sending it to Florida and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And the FBI, we're mad at them. Just fucking do your job. Let's find Guthrie for this family, for Savannah, for the rest of them, for the United States, for Pima County, for the neighborhood. Where is Nancy Guthrie? We need a break in the case. Get Nanos the hell out of there. Get somebody competent in there. Let's do this right. Let's dig into it, and let's get some answers. I still think my theory about the fetish could be on for motive. I'm starting to think there's more than one kidnapper. I think there was a multiple. Someone drove the van up. Maybe they helped him pull her out from out back. Something here was definitely staged. And it's just so strange. So strange. So anyway, I wanted to share a little update on my thoughts on the Guthrie case. You guys love the first one. Wanted to make a 2.0 here. Love everybody. I'll continue to make videos, and we'll follow the case. Fingers crossed. What's going on with Guthrie?